Hello, WJCC 5th grade band students. This is going to be level 1 at 72 BPM, the saxophone guide for March of the Champions, your practice guide for at home. Now, before you do this, you should have already done your mouthpiece exercise. And if you're on it already, your saxophone exercise is number 1 and number 2. And if I give you number 3, then you're working on number 3 as well. Really getting that technique down. That's going to help as well. This musical jumpstart section is going to be a great introduction to this. So we're going to play with a metronome, musical jumpstart number 1. One, two, ready? Now we're going to do number 2, heroic harmonies. We're looking for the best possible sound you can make. Number 2. Ready? Make sure you feel really confident on the technique in number 1, the technique and the articulation in number 1, and then the tone quality you're able to produce on number 2. Now we're going to move on to the actual piece, March of the Champions. Now keep in mind, you need to be really confident in your part for a lot of this because you're in a class with clarinet students and they have a totally different part than what you have. They have the melody and you have this little counter melody part along with the flute section. So make sure you're confident on this. So we're going to start with that section that you really need to be solid on, measure 11. Now when we practice things, we need to take it in chunks. So you're going to take a small section, work that out, make sure it's great. Then you make a bigger section out of it, and then you start combining these smaller sections. So we're going to start with number 11. That's going to be our first small section. I want you to master this first. I'm going to play it once, and you can play it with me, and then I'll try to put timestamps down in the description, and so you can play each chunk with me by going to those timestamps. So number 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, measure 11, 2, okay. Good. Go back and do that as many times as you need to. Now we're going to play the beginning of this, and then we're going to combine those two sections. So the beginning, from the top to measure 11. So remember, you don't play the first 2 measures. 2, ready, measure 1. Dun, 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 dun. That's the trombone part. Dun, dun, dun. That takes us right to measure 11. Now we're going to play the beginning up to 19. So make sure you're going back to those timestamps, making both of those small chunks really clear and really simple and really solid so that when you go on to the beginning to 19, you're combining these 2 chunks and it is going to be fantastic. Here we go. Beginning, and we're going all the way to 19. 1, 2, ready, measure 1, 2, 3, 4, measure 2, 2, 3. it changes, measure 11, 2, 3. Good, so I added to that the sections between 19 and 23. So if you stopped right at 19 and just heard me play 19 to 23, that's totally fine, that's totally acceptable. You're gonna use that chunk I just played though, it'll be again in the description, to do one of our larger chunks. Now we're gonna play just 19 by itself. 19 by itself. So that previous chunk is going to be the beginning all the way to 23. Now I'm going to play 19 to 23, then we'll play 11 to 23, and that's going to be a huge chunk of the music. So 19. Remember, you don't play on beat 1, 2, ready, and... Good. Now we're going to play 11 to 23. Remember, we already did the beginning to 23. 1, 2, 11. Ready? And 11, 2. Beautiful. 23 now to 27. This is going to be our last small chunk. Then we'll do 19 to 27. And then it's about stitching all of this together. And then we're going to do 27 to the end, and then we'll do a run through the whole piece. So 23 to 27. 2, ready, and 1, 2. Good. 19 to 27 now. Ready? 19. Now we're going to do 27 to the end. 27 to the end. 1, 2, 27, and... Now we're going to do 23 to the end, and then finally everything together. 23 to the end, one of your larger chunks. 1, 2, ready, 23, 2. Good. Now I want you to make sure you've gone through and you're solid on all of those chunks at that tempo marking. That's 72 on the metronome, and again, you can use this recording and keep going back to all those spots. Make sure all of these are perfect before you move on. Now if you're ready to move on, we're doing the whole piece. Whole piece from the top to the bottom. Here we go. Remember, you don't play the first measure. Ready? And measure 1. Dun, 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 dun. Good. Now, if you feel really solid on that, and you feel like you can already play that really well, you can move up to the next tempo marking, level 2. I'll put it up in the top of the video here for you. So happy practicing, and I hope this helps.